graduate student Laura Weaver is admitted to Mount Pleasant Hospital and meets with Dr. Rose Cotter, a therapist who was traumatized when she saw her mother commit suicide at the age of 10. Laura is terrified that she is being haunted by a malevolent presence that no one else can see, despite having witnessed her professor Gabriel Munoz bludgeon himself with a hammer only a few days prior. Laura maintains that the entity has the ability to manifest as other people grinning ominously, even though Rose diagnoses her as experiencing hallucinations. Laura suddenly loses it, saying she's going to die. She then smiles menacingly and chops open her neck in front of Rose with a shard of a broken vase. It turns out that Rose's ex-boyfriend Joel is one of the detectives who questions her regarding Laura's death. With a haunting smile, Rose, still shaken by what she saw, tells Laura about being supposedly cursed by an evil presence. Rose starts to notice Laura grinning at her in different contexts. Rose is motivated by her vision to investigate Gabriel Munoz's suicide. She discovers that Gabriel had an odd smile right before he passed away. Carl Rankin, Rose's patient, was admitted to the hospital earlier this year due to a manic episode. Rose calls security after Carl threatens and terrifies her with an ominous smile. Carl is restrained by orderlies, but Rose discovers that he was just acting aggressively in his head. Dr. Morgan Desai, Rose's boss, places her on a 1-week leave of absence because he thinks Rose may have had a mental breakdown following Laura's unexpected death. Rose is alone at home when the security alarm goes off after seeing Laura in yet another terrifying vision. It appears that Rose receives a taunting call from a security service operator. Not long after, Rose gets a call from the real operator. Rose finds her cat missing after her fiancé Trevor gets home. While Rose is listening to the audio from her session with Laura, she suddenly gets spooked again, and Trevor has to comfort her. Rose sees Dr. Madeline Northcott, her former therapist, out of concern for her own mental health. Rose tells Madeline that she is experiencing hallucinations, which she believes are caused by her long-standing guilt over her mother's deliberate overdose. Rose asks Madeline to give her antipsychotic medication, but she says no. Trevor and Rose go to Rose's sister Holly's birthday celebration for her 7-year-old nephew Jackson. When Jackson opens Rose's gift and discovers her dead cat wrapped inside, the guests are horrified. Rose, who is adamant that she is not at fault, is startled by another vision of Laura and trips over a glass table. Rose, her sanity failing, tries to tell Trevor that she seems to have inherited the curse that afflicted Laura. With disdain, Trevor claims that Rose killed their cat and that she inherited her mother's mental illness. Victoria, Gabriel Munoz's widow, is visited by Rose. Victoria displays to Rose the gruesome drawings Gabriel made of the evil force he said was attempting to enter him. Rose finds out that Gabriel was severely disturbed by his brother's death 20 years prior, and that he started screaming about the curse after witnessing a woman commit suicide at a conference. Rose begs for the woman's name, but when Rose insists that Gabriel was telling the truth about his curse, Victoria throws Rose out of her home. Joel is persuaded to assist Rose in connecting the remaining clues. Joel accesses a file for Angela Powell, whom real estate agent Gabriel Munoz witnessed die, using the police computer. More footage reveals that Angela witnessed a happy man at a gas station suddenly hack his own neck with gardening shears a few days before she passed away. When Rose gets home, Trevor has called Madeline to request an intervention because of Rose's concerns about mental health. Rose, who feels deceived, rushes outside to give her sister Holly copies of Joel's files. When Rose tries to tell Holly about the curse, it just makes the sisters fight because they think Rose is acting like their violent mother. Joel gives Rose a call to inform her that an additional investigation turned up a string of 20 cases like this one, involving witnesses to 19 suicides. Robert Talley, an accountant, was an exception. He witnessed his business partner's suicide. Nevertheless, 4 days later, Robert killed a stranger rather than taking his own life. The pattern returned a week later, when the person who had witnessed Robert's actions took his own life. Joel takes Rose to the jail to visit Robert Talley. Rose confides in Joel, who is not convinced, during the drive, that she believes the entity possessed people prior to their suicide and that she fears the duration of her curse is drawing to an end. Robert tells Rose in private in the jail that killing someone else is the only way to break the curse's chain, but that witness testimony is required because the entity requires trauma to survive. Robert is taken aback to learn that Rose is the one carrying the curse at the moment. Madeline pays Rose a visit at her house. When the real Madeline calls Rose on the phone, Rose realizes her presence is impersonating Madeline. Rose is threatened by the happy doppelganger of Madeline. With a kitchen knife in hand, Rose heads to the hospital by car. Dr. Desai tears off his own face as Rose sees herself killing her patient Carl with a knife in front of him. Before Rose quickly drives off, the real Dr. Desai discovers her in her car with the knife and tries to call for assistance. Joel calls Rose to let her know that, as a result of her conversation with her worried hospital boss, there is an APB out for her. Rose explains in a mysterious way that she intends to face the entity, and that she needs privacy in order to prevent any witnesses from carrying on the curse. Rose takes a car to the deserted childhood home where her mother passed away. Within, Rose encounters a vision of her mother, who charges Rose with permitting her death by failing to seek assistance when she discovers her overdosing. Rose calls her mother a monster who abuses people. Then, a lean creature that attacks Rose emerges from the vision. Rose uses an oil lantern to light the creature on fire. The house catches fire, and Rose makes her way outside. Rose goes to see Joel to express her regret for putting him through this and for not being more emotionally available to him during their relationship. Joel's sinister smile lets Rose know she's still cursed. After running outside, Rose realizes she never really left her childhood home, which is still intact. Joel shows up at the deserted house as the real Joel. Rose locks Joel outside to keep him safe while the beast opens its mouth. Joel enters the house just in time to witness Rose, wearing an ominous smile, set herself on fire.